Hey guys, obviously it's me, Kristen. I am now going to be making my version of shepherd's pie, which is called rancher's pie. Yeah, nice little Texas version. Anyways, I already got at least a little bit of the things set up, but here, let's take a look. Here I've got some baby carrots for the chopping. I've already washed some potatoes that we're gonna peel and chop. We're gonna be chopping that. All the scraps are gonna go in there. And of course, tissues for any sort of crying. So I've already started taking these and turning them into these. Right now they are chopped in quarters from the original size. And so this way, you know, you still have a nice little bite-sized thing without it being, you know, forgettable. We're now also gonna chop this up. So this way it's, again, like a nice rough chop without the pieces being giant, but also they, you know, don't disappear. So sorry I'm not cutting while doing this. I don't have a second pair of hands to film me while I try to make sure I stay safe. You know, knife safety is a thing. You don't want to have just one hand on this and one hand on your phone. That doesn't work. Alright, so just a minute. Now that I got the husks off, I went ahead and chopped them in half. We're going to be chopping them even further. You know, taking one slice through sideways, and then of course, dice, 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 dice. You'll get to see in a second. Yay! Alrighty, so this is about how I usually chop out my onions for this. Like some pretty good sized pieces, but trust me, they cook down really small, really quick. So, and it may look like a lot, but again, it cooks down really small, really fast. And you honestly want that rich flavor that you get from sauteing this. So make sure you do the whole onion. You know, give it a try. If you don't like it, then just do like a half onion. Alright, so I got 6 of these bad boys. We're gonna be chopping them up small enough to where they're gonna boil really easy to make the mashed potato topping for the rancher's pie. Now, how I usually end up doing it is, you know, I'll peel these first and then I'll slice them into discs and then maybe half or quarter them depending on, you know, how big the chunks are. So I'll be showing you in just a second. Now we got discs that are going to be turned into chunks, you know, good for just boiling prior to mashing. So we're going to get all of those done. Now, just like with most mashed potatoes, you're going to want to fill this up until the potatoes have a good little bit of water over it. And then we're going to set it to boil for 30 minutes. Let's get started. So I've started warming up this pan. This, you know, it's a high-sided sort of fry pan. Really great for a lot of different casseroles, or if you're working on a sauce, or in this case, rancher's pie. Now we're going to be putting a little bit of olive oil in it, just enough to where, you know, it's going to coat the bottom and keep the carrots and the onions from sticking. So just a little drizzle, maybe a big drizzle because I was watching the phone. We're just going to let that warm up. And then we'll dump all of those in there. Right now we're throwing in that entire bunch of carrots and onion in the pan, and after that we're gonna just be browning them, sauteing them until they've got a really nice color. You'll see in a minute. Now, once you get this started, you're gonna want to at least season it a little bit. I like to use a bit of black pepper, as well as Cavender's Greek seasoning. It is wonderful on just about anything. And I'm probably going to be using this a little bit more further into the recipe, but right now I just want to make sure those carrots and onions got some good flavor, and that we're making sure that everything's nice and evenly coated. Because let me tell you, It makes a huge difference in the flavor later. Now let's not forget, those carrots and onions are really going to cook down. So don't worry about how much room they're taking up in the pan because they're going to get a lot smaller. It's going to take, say, 15 minutes for it to really get going. But all this is going to be looking really good at about that time. So just make sure you're keeping an eye on it, that you're stirring it with a spatula. So this way you start seeing some color in this. Because you want to see a little bit of brown on the carrots, and you're going to want to see the onions caramelize. But as you know, it's going to take, like I said, about 15 minutes. I'll be checking back with you in then. Now this is about where I want those carrots and onions. I want that really nice, almost seared golden color on the onions. And you can see on some of the carrots, they've even had like a chance to brown and get a little caramelized on their sides too. Now that I have these where I want them, I'm now going to be adding some ground beef. Now, I like to use the 85/15 personally, but that's just simply because it has enough fat to get the job done, you know, help keep everything lubricated in there, but not so much that's going to be super greasy in the casserole dish later. Now, turn down the heat on this a little bit so this way it doesn't burn everything, but I've started breaking up the ground beef, and we're going to season it with some more Cavenders, so this way the beef itself gets a really nice good flavor. Now, I don't really measure this stuff, you know, with a tablespoon or teaspoon or anything like that. I measure it with my heart. So you put in as much seasoning as you would like. Now, this Cavender's Greek seasoning, it's got a bit of a combination of things. It's got a bit of salt, black pepper, it's got garlic. Now, you can kind of see a little bit right there. But let me tell you, it's some really good seasoning. So definitely try it. But like I said before, we're just wanting to really get the ground beef cooked up and seasoned, you know, before we start working on that sauce with all this stuff in here. Now, just as a heads up, you're not taking anything out, you're not streaming anything. The fat that's in this beef, it's to help make sure that nothing continues to stick to the pan. Trying to use good grammar here. Talking is hard. Now that I got this brown to my liking, we're going to start adding some sauce in there. Now, for a good rancher's pie, obviously it's going to be more of a barbecue flavor. And so as a base, I often use a really good tangy barbecue sauce, such as this stuff. Found it randomly at H-E-B, and let me tell you, it's really nice and tangy. It's almost spicy, but not quite. Definitely not what I consider a spicy barbecue sauce. This is their regular flavor of this particular brand, the Ernest Hemingway. This one's really good. We're also going to be adding some Worcestershire, because man, do we like that good umami flavor. And funny enough, we're going to be adding some bacon jam. You'd be surprised how much flavor just 2 tablespoons of this packs. It's like a freaking punch from a boxer. It's amazing. So we're gonna add some of this in there and I'll show you in a second. Now it's been a half hour for these potatoes. They are coming out nice and soft, you know, getting really nice to the fork. If I can actually find one to dig into. Here we go. That one broke off really nice. Yeah, super soft, perfect for, you know, mashed potatoes. We're taking this off the heat and we're going to focus on the filling for a little bit after this. Put 2 heaping tablespoons of this bacon jam in here, and after that we're going to give a couple of shakes of the Worcestershire. Not a ton. We don't want to overdo it. And then with the barbecue sauce, we're just going to kind of pour until we can see that there's like going to be a good coating for everything. Now this bottle kind of pours a little slow, that's okay. But once we got that good coating, we're also going to put some flour in here. You know, maybe about 2 tablespoons. So give me just a second for that. Now that I've gotten my sauces in here, we're just going to make sure we got all of this stirred up. So this way we get a good amalgamation. The flour also gets a chance to kind of help everything bind a little bit, you know, and thicken. So this way it's not just, you know, a bunch of watery sauces mixed together. So we're gonna do a taste test in a minute once we got it all mixed up. Alrighty, and this is what we want. I want to have like it look like it's actually binding like a really good thick country sausage gravy. So we're almost there. All we have to do is add the defrosted corn and peas and we'll be set. Give me just a second to get those set up. Alright, so we're adding in the peas. I usually like to add like a cup and a half. Yeah, just enough to give it some good color. Definitely not like a whole bag. And we're going to do the same with the corn. Just enough, like anywhere from a cup to 2 cups. However much you want in there, because let me tell you, this stuff will stick to your ribs. It's going to be real good. Now that we've got these mixed up, we're going to go ahead and put them in these Pyrex dishes. Now, I am using 2 of the, I want to say it's either 8x8 or 9x9 square Pyrex dishes. Just my preference. Also, because I don't have a 13x9 Pyrex dish available, that's okay. This will make for easier, you know, serving and all that. So we're going to get that in there. Now at this point, we're just trying to make sure they're nice and even in these pans, and that we've split them up, you know, pretty well half and half. At least assuming that you're using 2 pans like me. But yeah, so this way we're trying to make sure we got about the same depth, about the same amount in each one, and that they're prepped. Now it's time for the potatoes. We're going to drain those puppies. So at this point, you're going to want to go ahead and preheat your oven to 350. And then we're going to go ahead and bring those drained potatoes back to the pan, and we're going to add some milk and butter and spices. Now with my mashed potatoes, I tend to do, like with the 6 Yukon potatoes, I tend to do 2 tablespoons of butter, unsalted, and then we're going to do just under a half cup of whole milk, and then we're going to mash this all up. Now if you have a particular mashed potato recipe that you prefer, I mean, you go for it. Just, you know, realize it's going to be baking in the oven for another half hour. Now, I made my mashed potatoes a bit stout, you know, especially since we want something that's going to be really good and filling. And honestly, you're not going to want a soupy or a thin mashed potato, mostly just because, you know, not enough moisture is going to bake out in the half hour that all this is going to be in the oven. I made sure to have my potatoes in here, and we're just spreading them to get that good thick potato topper on top of this. And honestly, if you leave like some marks on here, it's not going to be seen. We're going to be adding some cheese to this. But, you know, part of the reason why you want to make sure that these potatoes are a little on the thicker side rather than thinner side is because, you know, you still got that sauce that's in the filling. You know, we want to make sure that's protected by the potatoes. And anyways, so we're going to be throwing them in the oven for a half hour, again, at 350. So we want to make sure that this is all set to go, and we're going to go ahead and put them in. Now that it's all in the oven, we're just going to play the waiting game. We're going to see how it all turns out. But anyways, I'll be back once they're done. Alrighty, so these guys are done. We are going to pull them out of the oven, and we're going to also put some shredded cheddar cheese on there. Now again, I don't measure the cheese out. I just make sure this is all covered and coated with the cheese. because we want a good melted layer on top while we're broiling this. So bear with me while I'm doing this. I'm gonna get both halves done and I'll show you the result. Now I have it broiling on high for about 5 minutes. And as you can see in here, we've got those tops completely covered in cheese. So we're just gonna wait a bit for that cheese to melt. It's gonna be real good. Okay, so the 5 minutes is done. We're turning off the oven. And look at those beauties. Oh, I wish you guys could smell this. I mean, that cheese is just golden brown. So of course we're gonna get it out of the oven. We're gonna let it sit for a good 5-10 minutes before we even think about digging into them. Okay, so now it is cooled enough to where I can serve myself a nice helping. Let's see if I can wedge that in there without losing my phone. Okay, let's make sure I get all the stuff that I missed too. Okay, so now I got myself a portion. We're gonna taste test. All right, I got it on the plate. Let's take a taste. Mmm. And that's your rancher's pie. Enjoy.